Bonjour! Join me in my daily juggle between my Calvinist Dutch upbringing and my nowadays lifestyle in France, enjoying my French home and garden, keeping up with my Dutch roots, hopping from travel to home, from work to pastimes, and from family to friends. I am Joanna, and I'm a foreigner in France.
Hey, hello everyone! Welcome to my channel and welcome to today's video. Bonjour! And yes, I am in my kitchen, and what does that mean? It means that I am preparing something to cook. I wanted to go outside, but it is miserable outside. Outdoor life has to wait a little bit longer. Today is the perfect day to make a good stew for my family. I am living in France for such a long time. I am going to make a typical traditional Bœuf Bourguignon. Yes, it is one of my favorite winter dishes. And having said that, I already made that when I was still living in the Netherlands so many years ago. And I am going to use the same recipe with a little twist as always to make today's Bœuf Bourguignon. Now, where does it come from, this name, Bœuf Bourguignon? Well, bœuf obviously means beef, so that's the easy part. Bourguignon means Burgundy, the Burgundy region, the Burgundy wine, and that's what you traditionally have to put into the stew. And when I'm using the word a Bœuf Bourguignon, no reason to get scared and all panicky and thinking this French dish with a French name, it must be complicated, it must be expensive, it must be a hassle. It isn't, not at all. You just chuck everything in the pan and you just let it simmer. The difficult part of this recipe is the waiting. You have to let it simmer for at least 2, even better if you give it 3 hours of cooking. And just let it be and do its wonderful work. I have bought over 3 pounds of stewing meat today. It was on a special offer. Seize the day. And I have a leftover of Côte du Rhône. That's my first little twist. I don't have any Burgundy wine. I have a Côte du Rhône. For today's recipe, I will be needing carrots, onions, potatoes. They are here. And I got all my beef. I got some leeks. Okay, my wonderful people, let's get started. I will start with covering my beef with 1 big spoonful of flour. This will help thicken the gravy. The beef is cut into lumps. The bigger the pieces, the longer it will take to cook, of course. I'm heating some olive oil and I'm covering the pan with my pieces of lovely beef. I'm stirring it up so that every piece will be nicely seared and a little brown. It's time to cut the vegetables. I have carrots, I have potatoes, I have onions, I have leeks, and after a couple of hours of simmering, I will also add sliced up mushrooms. Cleaning the carrots and the onions and cutting them in biteable bits. Onions? Actually, my kitchen is way too small to do big time cooking. Maybe one day YouTube will make me terribly rich and I will have a wonderful kitchen. But until then, I will use my small board in my small kitchen with an enormous knife. Now that the beef is seared and nicely browned, I can add the onions and my carrots. The potatoes I will do a little bit later. Before I go any further now, I'll put first my liquids in. I have tomato sauce to put in, water, but you can also use stock, the red wine of course. And once that's in, I will add the potatoes and the leeks. It's a pity that my pan is not big enough, otherwise I would have put more tomato sauce in it and absolutely, definitely more wine. For this quantity of beef, you can easily use half a bottle up to 1 bottle of red wine. I just have to do with whatever I have. Adding my salt and my ground black pepper. You coming with me? We are going to the garden to get some fresh herbs. There's not much going on in the winter in my garden. I only have thyme and bay leaf. The rest of the herbs will be dried ones that I will add. This summer I dried rosemary and sage, which I'm cutting up right now to add to my lovely stew. Time to peel and clean and cut up the potatoes. I will add them to my stew. Oh, my pan is so full. Now today I am going to put a leek in it, maybe just one. My wok is almost full. Usually we don't have enough, so this time I made sure I made it for 2 days and the rest will go into the freezer. When you're making a so-called traditional meal, a traditional dish, purists may tell you, hey ho, that's not the way to do it. Just remember that all recipes are always changing. It depends on the region where it is made. It depends on la mama, it depends on the chef, it depends on the person that is making it. And just remember that you are changing little bits in the recipe. You are also part of the slow evolution of a recipe. You are important. And now this baby is going to simmer, going to stew for a couple of hours. I have time to do something else. Have a cup of tea, for example. Because there's no more wine left. Oh, that is looking so good. And for the last half hour, I will add cut up mushrooms and bacon bits, just to give it a little bit of a smoky flavor. I believe that originally there has to go a little bit of bacon in it. Actually, we don't care about the original, traditional. We just do it our way. I definitely have a problem with the quantity of my meal. It is so full. I have put so much in it. I have, of course, a few solutions to this problem. Either I buy a bigger pan or I throw my children out of the house. What's the best option here? It's been 3.5 hours since I started cooking. 3 hours since it has been simmering, so I am going to try a piece of meat. Ooh, hot! The taste is good. The gravy is delicious. It's absolutely good to eat, but for me, I'm going to leave it on for another half hour because I want the beef to be melting in your mouth. That's what I love about a bœuf bourguignon. Chaud devant! Bœuf bourguignon coming up!